Well, it's beautiful up here. So glad that we're here together today. It's so gorgeous. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. Hope you guys are having a great morning. I'm having a great morning. It's beautiful outside today. We're here at Arthur's Rock Trail. We're going to be hiking that today. Why? Because I felt like it, honestly. Um, there's nothing more enjoyable for me than a good hike, and it's a good time to take a pause out of your day and just enjoy the beauty of what's around you, and especially when you're with friends, it's awesome. So you'll see me climbing up here. I'll take a few shots as I'm going up, and then at the top we'll talk about some tips and tricks I have for hiking and other outdoor activities that you can enjoy before the summer ends. All right, we're about half a mile into this beautiful hike, and what I can see around me is this gorgeous field, the rock behind me, and a pretty nice looking wooden bridge, I might say. That's what I mean. It's all about getting out there and just enjoying what's around you, because nobody's going to enjoy it for you. You got to be willing to put yourself out there and take chances, and I think it's worth it in the end, because look at this view. There's no one else around us, no cars, no waste of life, just you and the outdoors. And I don't think there's anything more beautiful than that. All right, we're at a nice little point in the hike where it's a nice and shaded area right here. The reason why I'm stopped here is because back in 2020, this is where I normally would have stopped the hike. This would have been back before I had really started exercising, so we already went uphill quite a bit. As you can see here, after this turn, it goes straight up to where the end of the hike is. So that was just too much for me at the time. And now I'm really happy to say that I can complete it pretty darn easy. And speaking of what I can see right now, it's beautifully shaded. We have all this beautiful green, beautiful rocks behind me. Dog. Dog? Where? But it's a nice, very peaceful spot where you could take a break, maybe have a snack, and just enjoy yourself. All right, everybody, we're almost at the top here. It's been a very long, strenuous journey, but we are finally here. The last part, it's about a 45-ish degree angle up to the top, and I'm going to attempt to do that with this fursuit head on, because if I can do it, you can do a regular hike. So, wish me luck. All right, well, we finally made it to the top here, and as you can see, it is just beautiful up here. I'm really glad that we were able to do this today. And while we're up here, I just want to give you a few tips about hiking, and just a couple things that I want to say while you enjoy the scenery with me. Some advice that I would give is, what should you bring? First of all, you should bring lots of water. Depends on the length of the hike, and also depends on your body's ability. I would highly recommend testing your body's ability before going on an extensive hike. Ways you can do that is by walking around, doing a treadmill, doing a stepper. Any type of sort of cardio really helps to figure out what your body is capable of, how long you can last, and all that type of stuff. Something else important to keep in mind with water is, just because you can go on a treadmill for 2 hours, 3 hours, doesn't mean you can hike for 2 or 3 hours. Because when you're on a treadmill, you're in a nice air-conditioned area, you can take a break whenever you want. That's not necessarily true while you're hiking. I go early in the morning so it's cooler, and it's beautiful sunrise, but Because I did bring this fursuit head, I did decide to bring 2 bottles of water because I knew that my body would have a harder time regulating my heat with the fursuit. And again, it's all about preparing yourself, knowing what you're capable of. And honestly, if you were to do this hike in the middle of noon or at 2 o'clock where the sun's really beaming down, it's like 85 degrees, I would definitely bring more than 1 bottle of water. I would also recommend bringing food. Now, depending on what you bring is really important. I personally don't bring foods on hikes this short. However, when a hike is longer, let's say like 8 miles, I will definitely bring some food. I always like to bring an apple. Fruit is very full of moisture, so it's going to hydrate you a little bit. It has good fiber in it. Definitely recommend bringing a fruit if you're going to hike. And also, there is beef jerky, beef sticks, all the type of stuff. Now, thing to keep in mind with beef jerky and that type of thing is they're going to be high in sodium, and sodium does dehydrate you. And if you're going to bring a bunch of beef jerky, you should probably bring a little extra water as well. Something that I always bring on a hike is my hiking fan. Now this doubles as a fursuit fan. It's been really helpful for me, especially, again, hot days, you're sweating. Your sweat is your body's air conditioning. So when you put a fan on you as there's a bit of sweat on your face, it's going to feel really nice. And something that I neglected to bring today is sunscreen. Absolutely require sunscreen for 8-mile hikes, but on shorter hikes like this, especially if it's in the morning, I personally don't care too much about it. Obviously, I probably should have worn it today to be a good example, but I didn't. Don't be like me. Please wear sunscreen. Please protect yourself. Lastly, I'd recommend a towel. I personally bring a towel on my longer hikes when I know I'm going to be sweating a lot, just to take some of that sweat off. Second piece of advice I want to talk about is what should you wear? If it's a nice 50-degree hike, I'll sometimes wear long pants. Sometimes I'll wear a jacket. On a hike like today, as you can see, I'm wearing very short shorts. These are very comfortable for me, and a very breathable shirt. A big piece of advice that I would give, especially if you're starting in the morning, is to wear layers. If it's going to be nice and cool in the morning, you want to wear a jacket, wear a light jacket. Don't wear like a sweater or something that you can't really take off, because with a jacket, you can just undo that layer halfway up your hike and put it in your backpack if you want. And for the last piece of advice today, what if the hike's just too difficult? Let's say you overestimated what your body can handle at this time. There's nothing wrong with that. Don't be ashamed of that. Just turn around. I'm going to be so serious with you. Please just turn around. There is no need to stress yourself out or overexert your body if you physically cannot handle a hike. And something else, maybe if the hike's just too difficult right now, but you think you can push through to the end, I would just consider taking a break. Take as many breaks as you need. I think it's very important that you don't overexert yourself, like I said. And also, don't sit down for too long. Your legs need to regulate to walking or sitting. And if you're sitting for too long, your legs are going to hate you when you try to walk again. So if you're going to sit down or lean against something, make it like 5 minutes at most. You should be proud of yourself for getting out there, getting out of your comfort zone to try to pursue something beautiful. I certainly couldn't do hikes this long. As you saw earlier in the video, I talked about a point where I would have had to turn around 6 years ago because my body couldn't handle it. Make sure you're taking care of yourself first. And then now I kind of want to move on to a different type of section. It's not really advice. I mean, you could take it that way. It's more of a Q&A that I'm giving myself to share with you guys because I think these questions are important. And it's better to answer them now than to leave them unanswered and then you guys aren't sure. These are questions that I wrote down. And the question is, what would be my favorite hiking area? Well, it really depends. I do like going up in the mountains just because the temperatures are cooler up there during the summer. It makes it a little bit easier to hike. But even where I am right now, where it's not as cool, this hike is short and it gives a great view of this entire range here. It's really gorgeous. I do it for the love of the game. I love the exercise. I love being outside, getting away from stuff. It really helps my mental state. But if I were to prefer a hiking location, it would be places where you get a really beautiful view that's not obstructed by trees. If you can get above a tree line and you get a view, 10 out of 10 hike right there. And in terms of length of hikes, I like the longer hikes because of the view they get. Even, again, like I said, this one's short and has a good view, but the reason why I also like shorter hikes is the accessibility. I can just do a nice short hike, get myself outside, and just enjoy it, be in the moment. And that's the real beauty of shorter hikes. Next, sort of the Q&A section, I want to talk about what makes a good hiking partner. Now, again, on shorter hikes, I'm pretty competent in going by myself, but there are times where I do need someone else, especially longer ones. You're there for each other. You're there so that you both don't die, basically. As gruesome as that sounds, it's kind of how I feel about it. You're having a partner there so that you don't die and they don't die. And honestly, it's just better with friends. So again, what makes a good hiking partner? Number one, they're reliable. I'm very grateful to have a friend who is very reliable to me. They have gone on almost every hike that I've been on, excluding a few. They can't come all the time. And shout out to my friend here who came on this hike with me and helped me film this video. It's been very, very nice. Secondly, would be having good behavior. Now, this can mean a different number of things. They cannot litter. People that litter are absolutely a deal breaker to me. I'm sorry. Actually, I'm not sorry, because there's a reason why these parks are so beautiful. There's a reason why these places are so beautiful, and it's because of the lack of human engagement. The fact that you need to do your best to leave no trace is really important. And again, with the leave no trace sort of thing, people that stack rocks, that's also part of damaging the environment. I know that a lot of people don't agree with that, and I know that parents love to let their kids do that. Just because parents let their kids do it doesn't make it okay. And lastly, with the leave no trace sort of thing, they need to stay on trail. Obviously, with that, I'll make a couple exceptions. If they have to use the restroom, it's just human nature. It's just something that happens. That's fine. And secondly, what makes a good hiking partner is having good energy. They're kind to others. If someone's rude to other people or they're negative the whole time, they're complaining about the hike, they're complaining about the weather, that's really not making the hike enjoyable. I don't have a problem with somebody's having a difficult day. Obviously, everyone's days look different. When I say a bad mood, I just mean like there's nothing going good for them. Like they are constantly complaining. Speaking of energy, I think that a good hiking partner needs to be encouraging to you. If you're struggling with the circumstances, if you're struggling mentally, they need to be there for you. They need to be able to lift you up and be like, hey, you know what? We're only like a mile from the top. Let's just push it and we'll be good. Because being tired and struggling on a hike is a real thing. Like I said, if you can't make it, turn around. If your partner is mad at you for that, then they're probably not the person you should be hiking with. Their endurance might be good, but if their energy isn't good, I don't think it's worth it. The biggest rule I do for hikes is the slower person should go in front. If you're really good and your partner is still developing in this sort of hiking experience, let them lead. Don't be big brother and go in front and then just leave like a 1,000-foot gap between you. You're going to isolate that person and they're not going to feel good about themselves because they can't keep up with you. Yes, a big aspect of a hike is the exercise you get, but it's not just the exercise. It's the journey of getting through the trail. It's the nature around you. It's all the plants, the animals, the bugs, whatever it might be. Make it about keep the main thing is what I would say. Understand what you're here for and what's in your surroundings and who's right in front of you. So you may have been viewing the pictures that I've been putting up and you might be wondering, why is my fursuit with me the entire time? Because I'm combining my two favorite things. Even when I'm not filming, I bring Iris with me for some photos. I think that doing what you want to do and not being afraid of who's around you is really important. Even if it doesn't have the biggest point in the world, it's important to see these things even if you're not in a mountain area. Just going outside can significantly improve your mood. Is beautiful. And it gives you different perspective on life. The plants, the trees, the bugs, the small creatures like squirrels, chipmunks, and birds. It gives you a newfound respect for nature, and that's why I personally love hiking. I love being outside. I think back to all the hikes I've done. I think back to the short ones, the long ones, the ones with great views, the ones that ended up with a little bit of disappointment because there wasn't a view. It was all worth it in the end because I got to do what I loved. And that's truly what separates just a boring, regular, mundane activity with what makes you happy is love. And I think that's a really beautiful thing, especially when you can do it with your friends. When I hike with my friends, I feel so grateful and just happy to be sharing this experience that I love doing. With all that said, I really do appreciate you guys coming on this hike with me. I hope you enjoyed this video and share my experience with you as always. And I will see you guys later. Have a great day.